We started neighborhood planning, hoping folks would help us out. We're talking about that park called Jackson. Look at what this plan's about. Come to the park of Jackson and take a look around. Yeah, come to the park called Jackson, one of the best in town.
Welcome to NPD News, Jackson Park Edition. My name is Nancy Glover, Director of Housing and Community Development, a part of your neighborhood planning team, here with...
Hi, Erin Smith, Assistant City Manager, also a part of your neighborhood planning team.
We're really excited to show you the plan that we've developed for the Jackson Park Neighborhood District. This is our 9th neighborhood plan, and it includes some of the best improvements that we've had so far.
We were so excited to start the Jackson Park Neighborhood Plan. This neighborhood has such a rich history within the city of Temple, and there are so many amazing residential structures and other things that have. Generally, the location of the neighborhood is bordered by 3rd Street, Shell Street, French, and the railroad. It's a wonderful neighborhood. It's been here for several years, but we needed to, as we began the process, we knew that we needed to learn a lot more about the neighborhood. So what we do is we begin all of our planning processes by doing a lot of research on the neighborhood. And we look at the demographics of the neighborhood, we look at sidewalk condition, property condition, at the current zoning that's in place, amongst many other things that we look at to try to figure out what the demographics and the dynamics are of the neighborhood to better understand what we're doing in that planning process. And then, like every other neighborhood, we kick it off with a survey. Jackson Park was a great time for us. It was right around the time where we were able to participate in National Night Out. We were able to do that first event and get a lot of feedback from a 3-question survey from several residents within the neighborhood. And I have to say it was highly attended and we received a lot of great feedback. And then we did our major community event here again in Jackson Park, where several residents came and filled out the long form survey and provided a lot of great feedback in that process as well. Then we go on and we held a series of focus groups with residents, business leaders, nonprofits, businesses, you name it. We try to reach out to everyone to get feedback along the way. And we have continuously met throughout the process as well with our external planning team. So as we've developed the plan, we then start our visioning and looking at different things for the neighborhood to improve it. That could include road improvements, utility improvements. We've looked at alleys and lighting and some redevelopment opportunities that exist within the neighborhood as well.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. We're going to walk you through your new neighborhood plan.
I'm here at Jackson Park. Jackson Park is an ideal neighborhood park within the Jackson Park neighborhood. It is located in the direct center of the neighborhood, so it is walkable from any residence within the Jackson Park neighborhood. Throughout your plan, you will see recommendations that we've included to provide safe walkability, though, to the park that doesn't currently exist, such as trail connectivity as well as sidewalk connectivity. There are several amenities that currently exist within the Jackson Park neighborhood. You have pavilions, a new playground structure, basketball courts, and a nice trail that goes throughout the neighborhood, as well as the beautiful mature trees, not to say the least. But there are several different things that we've looked at with the development of this plan that could be done to the neighborhood to improve upon it. When putting out the survey, we heard from a number of neighborhood residents that would love to see improvements done to the Jackson Park in general, such as we noticed in a demographic survey that there are several children within this neighborhood that are under 5 years old, which looking at the park and seeing the structures within the park, the current playground structure doesn't really allow for children of that age to necessarily play on every structure within there. So part of the plan component we're recommending is to add a tot lot that would be for children under 5 years old to play on. We're also doing some other recommendations. There are existing restroom facilities in the park, but they really are in need of revitalization or refurbishment, and so that's a recommendation as well. Also, there are some parking spaces on either side of the park. However, we would really like to see some additional parallel parking along the street that would help with those that do want to drive to the park area. We are also recommending some increased safety measures. That's something that we also heard from the residents around here. to include lighting as well as some more increased pedestrian safety that we want throughout the area.
Hi, I'm Jason Deckman, Senior Transportation Planner for the City of Temple. We're here on the corner of East French and North 8th Street at the entrance of the Jackson Park neighborhood. This is a key intersection for this neighborhood because this is a place where the roadway on 8th Street transitions from a collector to more of a quiet neighborhood street. So it goes from 4 lanes down to 2. And the changes proposed here are things like traffic calming, some signage to welcome you to the neighborhood, as well as some improved pedestrian features such as sidewalks. We're here at North 1st Street in the Jackson Park neighborhood at a key pedestrian corridor. North 1st Street connects with the cemetery, Lamar Middle School, and Miller Park to the north. Right now, there's very little in the way of pedestrian infrastructure, but a potential project here is to move the utilities and flatten the slope, either raise it or lower it, build it up so that there's an accessible, ADA-compliant path to link the southern parts of the neighborhood with the cemetery and the park and the school to the north. An idea that's been implemented in multiple neighborhood plans is the idea of a pedestrian connector. We do arterials and collectors to enhance the flow of vehicle traffic. For pedestrian connectors, the focus is on the pedestrian and the bicyclist. So those streets are set aside for improvements that may include a bike lane or a sidewalk or additional traffic calming to slow the vehicles down and make this more of an inviting path for human-powered travel. Alleys are frequently an invisible part of neighborhood infrastructure, but they serve an important purpose, and they're being addressed in the Jackson Park plan for a number of reasons. One, you can relocate the vehicle parking, so you can take the vehicles off the street and have your parking to the back of the homes, and that maybe opens up the street view. You can have a nice quiet tree-lined street, and it takes away that parking, that intrusion between the neighbors. Your utilities can be located in the alley, and that reduces the conflict between maybe municipal sewer or water lines and commercial telecommunications or gas lines, that those don't conflict with each other. Also, if you have those street trees that I mentioned on the street and the utilities are in the alley, then the tree roots don't cause damage to the utilities. And finally, the trash pickup can take place down the alley, and then you don't have trash cans out on the street. Again, that may be an unsightly factor. But on a good windy day like we get in Texas, maybe you don't have the trash can getting knocked over and trash blown down the street. Nobody wants to see that. If the trash is kept in the alley, then that's probably a better solution.
Hi, I'm Kelly Atkinson, Senior Neighborhood Planner. I'm standing here along Knob Creek in the Jackson Park neighborhood. The plan calls for putting an off-street trail through here, basically connecting 3rd through the neighborhood along Knob Creek over to Jackson Park. The intent of this trail is to make sure that we have a connection for all the other items you just heard about Jason talking about, including our bicycle paths and our pedestrian ways. Really just a great connection opportunity to bring all of that together.
As we were going through our neighborhood engagement process, we talked to a lot of the residents who voiced a desire to have a dog park added to their neighborhood. We started looking at the various locations in the neighborhood and found this one on the corner of Nugent and 6th. And we thought that this would be a perfect location for the dog park. It has plenty of space, some existing trees, and would really lend itself well to having a 3-section dog park, one for larger dogs, one for smaller dogs, and then one just a play yard with some unique sort of animal exercise equipment. So we really are excited about this part of the plan, and we hope that the neighbors will enjoy it. A part of the planning process includes analyzing all of the existing roadways to see if any improvements are needed to help the traffic flow. We found that Nugent is one of the streets that is the most highly traveled within the Jackson Park district. Because of that, and because of the intersection you see here and the improvements that we plan to make with the dog park, we felt that this would be a perfect location for a roundabout. Roundabouts really help people navigate those intersections where multiple streets come into contact with each other at a central location. This site is really perfect for that, and we feel like it will really help improve the overall traffic flow along Nugent, especially when the dog park is added.
Hi, right behind me you can see the major corridor known as 3rd Street. 3rd Street lies along the western boundary of the Jackson Park neighborhood. 3rd Street is a major corridor that goes along several of our other neighborhood planning districts. You'll see other improvements within the historic neighborhood as well as the downtown district that include improvements for 3rd Street. In the Jackson Park neighborhood plan, we have identified very similar improvements that mirror the historic and downtown plan, such as ensuring that we have continuous sidewalks that are at least 5 feet wide for pedestrians. We have recommendations to reduce the overall number of driveways to ensure that pedestrians have safe, continuous access along the corridor, but still making sure that there is access provided to the businesses along 3rd Street. We also have identified street trees that would go between the sidewalk and the roadway, and preserving any existing trees and other landscaping that exists in that area is very important along that corridor as well. In the area along 3rd Street between French and Houston, we are specifically looking at that area as an opportunity for neighborhood services. It provides a great opportunity along that neighborhood. There are some existing business buildings or commercial buildings that exist within that area, but then there's other opportunities for adaptive reuse, where you would take a residential structure and convert that to a commercial structure. Some recommendations included as those areas redevelop as well as are adaptively reused would be to offer outdoor seating space, flex space where people can use open lawns for a multitude of uses, as well as several other uses that we have identified within the plan area. It's really important to make sure that 3rd Street is a pedestrian corridor, but also knowing that is heavily traveled as well by vehicles. We need to make sure that we do maintain those lanes of traffic, but making sure that the overall pedestrian experience is enhanced is very important to not only get to different destinations, but particularly residences and businesses.
In improving major thoroughfares as a part of Temple Comprehensive Plan, Shell Road will now be upgraded to a minor arterial. What this means is that Shell Road will now become a key point in moving traffic as well as pedestrians safely from one side of the neighborhood to the next. Enhancing and realigning Shell Road will create more traffic on the north side of Jackson Park, connecting it to its neighboring districts.
I'm standing here at the north end of 4th Street, right where it dead ends into the Hillcrest Cemetery. Currently, there's no real connection to the cemetery. It's separated from the neighborhood, but there is a master plan that we hope to develop for this cemetery in the near future. And one of the interesting elements that we've brought forward in this neighborhood planning process is actually bringing more interest and more visitors to the cemetery, and just making it a really comfortable pedestrian experience and a place that you could visit. And really just a great connection from 4th Street winding through Hillcrest Cemetery up to the proposed Shell Road realignment. The trail should have an ornamental security fence and gates, along with lighting, seating, and waste receptacles to ensure a comfortable environment for users. It's important that the proposed trail informs and aligns with the future master plan for the cemetery.
Jackson Park is our 9th neighborhood plan. Prior to coming into Jackson Park, we completed a plan in the adjacent neighborhood to the north called the Bel Air District. If you haven't seen that plan, I encourage you to go take a look at it. It includes some improvements to 1st Street, which is the street that we're on now. Those improvements include a bicycle route. We noticed as we were planning in that neighborhood that a lot of the children from the Jackson Park neighborhood would ride their bikes to the elementary and middle schools to the north. So we really wanted to pay special attention to this roadway. The bicycle route will include special designations on the street, as well as additional sidewalk improvements to the adjoining area. These improvements we think will help improve the quality of the experience of both pedestrians and bicyclists while not impeding the roadway for travelers in vehicles.
The Jackson Park neighborhood has a predominant street tree environment. While most trees here are mature and healthy, there are others on some streets that are not. The street tree replacement program will be designed to provide maintenance and replacement to some of the trees that are in need of some help. This will create a more uniform environment to beautify the Jackson Park district. This program We'll look at some streets and decide what tree species should be added to add value to the neighborhood. Lighting within this district is in need of improvements to ensure the safety of its residents. Recommendations for a specific plan area will address the following zones: general street zones, neighborhood zones, intersection zones, park zones. Recommendation for cemetery and business and commercial will also be considered.
Neighborhood identity is an important factor for helping to create a sense of community. The neighborhood plan contains several examples of fonts and logos for monument signage and street sign toppers that best reflect Jackson Park's uniqueness, individual character, and distinct sense of place.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of MPD News, and we really hope that you've liked the suggestions that we've made for your neighborhood.
If you have any feedback you want to provide to us, please email us at mpdnews@templetx.gov by May 26th. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you like the Jackson Park Neighborhood Plan as much as we do.
Well, come on to that park called Jackson. Walk along Knob Creek for your hell. Go play in the park and help us with the plan. Get some ideas for yourself. See the park of Jackson and drive the thoroughfares. Yeah, friends, we got a plan for Jackson because the city cares. When I go walking along 4th Street, I think we need a nice trail. All of us should get together so we can tell you in more detail. Come on down to Jackson. Drive down Houston and French.